All right, guys. I believe we are live. Go ahead and let us know if you can hear us. Rep, go ahead and talk just to see if everything's working. My end should be just fine.
Yeah, everything's fine. I had the tab, the thing with the sound on the other end. I heard the noise coming in, but hopefully everybody can hear me. As you guys know, we have a polling firm. We both work
Yep.
together with SoCalStrategies and try to poll the 2024 election, try to be the most accurate pollster, cut through the BS of the election mafia and their generally schizophrenic polling. And so far, we have conducted polls, and we've gotten a fair share of attention for them for 538. And we are going to conduct more polls down the stretch because we have to. The only problem is that these polls, they're not cheap, they're not free to conduct, and we're able to conduct them pennies on the dollar from a lot of these firms that are going to be way off the base. But still, we got to make sure that we are able to keep up with being able to afford them, and that's why we're crowdfunding the polls. And again, $5, $10, $20, it goes a long way for sure. You talk about these donations, they add up, but we would encourage people, and that's why we're doing this stream together. We'll be talking about the election, but we need people, all hands on deck, people that can to donate. We'll look in the regular chat to look at the live chat. If you guys want to send a super chat, I just recommend sending it straight to the
Yeah.
polling fund as well. But I'll let you have the floor. I know I kind of did the intro by accident there, but
No, you're good. But what's up, guys? Welcome back to another stream with me and Ready Go Politics. And we're going to be talking about the election, but this is also mainly to pretty much we're going to be fundraising for SoCal Strategies. He cannot make it here today. I believe he's out of town, but we are going to have this stream for about maybe 45 minutes, an hour or so to pretty much fundraise for him. I see that we're getting people in pretty quickly, which is nice. We got a couple people on X tuning in. We have a couple people on YouTube as well, guys. Make sure to hit the like button, guys. Please go ahead. If you're on X, reshare the live. Reshare the live on X. I'll go ahead and actually put the GoFundMe link on the X chat as well. I'll go ahead and put that in the X chat. So if you are in the X chat, you can in fact donate to us as well. And the pin chat for people who are viewing on YouTube is from Red Eagle, and it should be at the top. We're going to go ahead and show the page really quick just to kind of go over exactly what we're doing. And Red Eagle, I think you may know exactly what states we're doing, but this kind of gives like a general outline as to what we're polling. We did set the goal to 15,000 because the more we can get, the more sample size we can have for the polls. So it'll be the same polls regardless. We're not going to poll necessarily extra states. Depends on how much we get. If we make more than that or raise more than that, maybe we will possibly pull an extra state or two. But if we look down here, we'll see, 6 state polls in October. We're using Pollfish and Cint to conduct them, and that would be the total baseline cost there. And then here it says the national poll cost for the national level, 500 respondents from Pollfish and 500 from Lucent Theorem. And that comes out to a total of 9,100 there. But we did put the goal as an arbitrary, 15K, just to kind of give a little bit of a wiggle room for us, for increased sample size, which will be important because a lot of the times when we do polling like this, especially with SoCal Strategies, a lot of the initial samples tend to come in very liberal for some reason. And a lot of pollsters have also been experiencing that too. So we can get extra samples. It'll always be greatly, greatly appreciated as well. So guys, make sure to go ahead and donate. Oh, I have
we got another 64. Thank you, Mark, for the
go ahead.
64.
Yeah, let's look. Oh, did we get we got one? Oh, there it goes. All right. Yep, Mark Lee just came in with a 64. Thank you very much. There's like a $5 one that's like not showing there. I don't see it. But thank you very much, Mark, for the 64. We greatly appreciate. That was the first super chat or slash donation technically for the stream. So if you guys actually do donate during the stream, we will in fact name you guys as well. So now we're going to be moving on to other things, but again, feel free to donate in the GoFundMe as
And
well.
one thing I'll just add, if I may chime in here, the 6 state polls we're going to be doing. As of right now, it seems like we're not going to poll Nevada. It's a very tough state to poll. It's likely not going to determine the outcome.
No.
But again, if we are able to raise our total goal, if we're able to raise 15,000, we're probably going to be able to incorporate more polling from more states and more frequently, maybe an additional national poll in addition to our final national poll. We're going to be entering the field again, I believe October 5th, and then we're going to be conducting these polls down the stretch. But we'd like to do more polls than just these 7. Definitely, that's the bare minimum. We would like to be able to go out there and have as many polls that could possibly be graded, because it's like you have the election mafia dons, you got 538, you got all these other election mafia firms, and they're the same ones that will countlessly trash polling firms like ours. They go at us relentlessly. And the thing is that the last time they did this in 2020, they had a lot of egg on their face, but they're very good at revisionist history. 2022 rolls around and then they give people, give polls that had an A, they'll instantly give them a D, and give polls that had a C, they'll give them an A+. I mean, just how these people typically operate. So again, we got to make sure that we don't let them control the narrative. That doesn't mean that our polls are going to be slanted intentionally in favor of Trump. If Trump is down, we want the people to know that. So, either, Trump can change or, change course or whatnot. I don't think that posting polls for the sake of posting polls that are good, look good for Trump, that's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to impact the averages. We're not trying to do that. We're partisan. We obviously want Trump to win. There's no shying away from that. But at the same time, there is a big, and part of Trump's initial appeal was the establishment and it just going rogue, being out of touch with the average voter. And the pollsters are by and large a part of it. A lot of them work for that same media establishment. And that's what we're, really just trying to do, is just provide an alternative, not trying to sugarcoat anything. It's true. Certain national polls are more in line with what we're saying. Even Quinnipiac drops a Trump +1. New York Times drops a Trump +1. But I mean, your morning composts, and they're able to get away with it cycle after cycle. But polls that are accurate that might have one bad year for, reasons that these people can't articulate properly, they're wrong. But we need as many polls as possible to get that grade in the 538 system as well. And the best way to help out is donate. And I know we have 253 people in chat. That's great. If all of you guys just gave, $10, I know some people can't, but that would be a big help. We'd be able to get a few polls done based off of that alone. And that's kind of what we're trying to do with this fundraiser, with these polls. And I guess we could look in chat and talk about some other stuff in the meantime, but I will keep reminding people to make sure they check out the link. We're transparent. Everything you guys see is the bare minimum of what you're going to get. In fact, we hope to do more polls than just these 7. But hopefully we can get as many polls done between now and Election Day. That would help out big time.
Right, 100%. And, when looking at these, Rep is right. There are a lot of pollsters that won't come on a stream or won't talk to the primary audience they're trying to reach, even if it's a partisan audience or even if it's a general audience. A lot of pollsters don't have open communication like this unless it tends to be the accurate ones. Funny enough, the more accurate people tend to have pretty open communication with their general audience, like Richard does, like Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen Reports does, and even Alice Intel does live streams every time they drop a poll. I mean, they probably just did one for all the swing states, and we'll be checking that out in this video, and we'll kind of be looking at some of them because some of the cross-tabs are weird. But guys, state polling is very, very iffy. State polling is not the best thing in the world. It tends to be a lot more difficult to do because you're trying to concentrate a sample in a singular state. The national level polling tends to just be easier to do. That's just how it naturally is. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now, guys. We did get another 10 from Mary. So thank you, Mary, for the 10.
Yep, thank you, Mary.
Yeah, thank you.
32. We got a 32.
Let's go see.
That might be old. Yeah, I think that was old, but we did.
Yeah, no, we got that. Yeah, we got that about 6 hours ago. But thank you for whoever that was as well. We started at about 1,300, so we'll see where we're at by the end of the stream. We'll kind of go ahead and see where that is. But let's go ahead and read the super chat because somebody did give a super chat, and I'm not going to not read it. So Alice Intel announced that they'll poll Virginia and Minnesota. Yeah, I think they should poll them just to see what happens. I mean, they may get a weird result. I mean, it's just, if you're getting Trump +4 in Michigan, you should try to poll Minnesota. I mean, it's just normal. So I wouldn't really blame them. In Virginia, the polling aggregate's under 5 points for Kamala Harris. So again, I'm not really surprised about that either. So, I mean, yeah, it's just at the end of the day, I'm not surprised about that. I think they should poll them. I think they should have kept polling the deep blue states after Biden dropped out. I almost felt like they were polling those states just to kind of give Biden an excuse to drop out because, he's doing so bad in these. And then out of nowhere, when Kamala becomes the nominee, they just happen to stop polling New York all of a sudden or stop polling Jersey. And then now when they poll New York, you get anywhere from like +10 to +15. Like, how is she only winning New York by 10 to 15 if we were to take that at face value, but she's up in Wisconsin by 6? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, there's no universe where that happens unless it's a midterm, which we are not in a midterm. We're in a presidential election. And I think people really fundamentally do not understand the difference between the two. And this is my thing that I explain it with. It's the most simple out of anything you could really say. In a midterm year, you have a bunch of different races in different states with different sets of candidates on every different ballot. You have two completely different candidates. In a midterm, the state issues are more at the forefront of the election. And so that's why abortion, unfortunately, took a pretty big front row in that election. But when you have a national election, you have the same two candidates on all 50 ballots, and the number one issue tends to be the number one issue in all of the states, which is why it's more predictive. It's a lot more predictive in those type of years because in the presidential years, we just received, let's look at this again. We did get another dono, Emilio, for 7. Thank you very much. We greatly appreciate that, guys. We do highly recommend, even if you have to make an account really quick, please go ahead and do that because we would greatly appreciate any of these support. We are trying to raise for SoCalStrategies for anybody who's new to the stream. And, these are expensive, so they are expensive. Dickie Spaz for 10 says the gospel according to St. Donald of the Trump says 4 more years. All right. We
got to find out. It's not the gospel, but is it possible? We'll see. The polls, they're not the best indicator of what the results usually are according to a lot of these mainstream media polls, and that's why we're here, and that's what the fundraiser is important for. But no, it's true. You have the midterm. I call it the midterm brain poison. And they cling to that. They cling to off-year elections. They cling to these things that are not representative of the electorate. And I'm glad you brought up issue importance because in 2020, the number 2 issues were you had the coronavirus and you had the BLM stuff. Those were those were 2 of the 3 issues. And you also had the economy, but the economy wasn't as strong as it was before COVID. And obviously Trump was able to win those voters, but the economy is a much stronger issue now. Trump is much stronger on that issue, one could argue. And that's what a lot of these working class voters that the pollsters typically care about. That's the thing. So you look at that, and you also have, inflation. If you separate those two, which we do in the polling, when we poll by issue, we poll properly the way that Barris does in terms of the wording on the issues. But You have the economy, but you also have immigration. That is Donald Trump's winning issue, and that was nowhere to be found in 2020. It was up there in 2016, and Trump overwhelmingly won the voters that cared about the topic. And now it seems as if he's going to win, he'll win even more of them, and they're a bigger share of the electorate. Issue importance matters. Yeah, abortion was more of an issue in 2022, but why was it more of an issue in 2022? Because of the fact that it's now a state issue. So yeah, down ballot North Carolina, that's why you'll see ticket splitting. It's not necessarily because of the things you saw on some message boards that were allegedly said by Mark Robinson. But, a lot of the reason why he was already down in the polls, it wasn't controversial things he said in the past. It kind of was, but it related to abortion. That was the number one thing, abortion and child care. Those are Democrat issues, but abortion has largely become a state issue. Donald Trump said, I'm not touching it. And he's now, I'm glad, going on offense and saying she'll never be able to touch it because she'll never have the votes unless she wants to defend getting rid of the filibuster, which she'll never have. And obviously, Democrats would be smart if they just cut their losses in the Senate. Of course, they want the Senate so they can maximize what they're able to do. And I'm sure they'll find ways around it if they get in power for sure. But and it seems like we got another $45 donation.
Yep, you did get that. I was waiting for you to speak and finish. Maryland Dagoty 83 says, "What are your thoughts on the PA backlog problem?" I guess he's talking about registration backlog. Also, Gary for 5. We greatly appreciate that. But Maryland, I'm not too sure about what's going on there. I'm not really 100% certain on that. But guys, if you are super chatting, we do greatly appreciate it. I know that I haven't been streaming as much. I am going to be streaming a lot more now leading up in October, so I will be doing that more. But just for this stream, guys, if you are going to super chat, just make an account for GoFundMe and donate the funds there because we need as much help as humanly possible. Okay, another donation. David Hernandez for 47. Thank you very much, David Hernandez. We are about
to like that number a little bit better than 45, by the way.
Yep.
But no, if Maryland, if you could explain what you mean by backlog problem in the regular chat so we can answer it, that'd be great. Because I don't know what you're referencing when you say Pennsylvania backlog. But one thing I will say is that I don't know if you want to go over these articles that I've found, but there are 2 articles that were circulating yesterday. One of them was in the Post Millennial. One of them was in Politico, talking about at length the problem that Kamala Harris has in a place like Pennsylvania, where she just does not have that appeal. Right. And also talking about the Catholic skepticism, which I have been sounding the alarm, even when Biden was in the race, because he's lost standing with those people. But right. Those 2 articles there.
We'll go ahead and pull them up. I'll pull up the political one first. So we'll go ahead and discuss that one first. So let's pull up the political article. So Kamala Harris's Pennsylvania problem: Joe Biden's local ties and cultural roots kept him competitive in culturally conservative northeastern Pennsylvania. Harris's prospects in the heavily Catholic working class region there are dicier. And I mean, before we get into the article, guys, there was literally a poll that came out right now that not even that long ago that I think it's Notre Dame. It's like a college.
Notre Dame, yeah.
Notre Dame, yes. It's a college in Indiana, I believe it is. And it was a Biden plus 37-point lead in their last poll in 2020. And Trump's up by 2 against Kamala Harris, which is absolutely insane. That's just a huge shift. We do have here from a 5 from Piggy. Thank you. Thank you guys, Zach. Zach, we appreciate it. Thank you for the 5. But again, you should donate to the GoFundMe because the thing is, guys, the super chats, we don't get paid them until like the month after, and YouTube takes like a cut of that, which they won't anymore if Trump gets elected, because that also applies to super chats as well. The no tax on tips policy, I've heard, also applies to super chats. So once we get there and Trump implements that, we won't have that problem anymore. But guys, just for the sake of this stream, please go ahead and just donate to the GoFundMe. Whoa, okay. So we
got a $500. That is big.
Wow, a $500 donation. Thank you very much from whoever that was. We greatly appreciate that. We have just raised so far about pretty much $700 so far in the first 20 minutes of the stream. Maybe what we'll do is the more we raise during the stream, I'll possibly continue the stream for even longer. Maybe we'll go ahead and do that as well. So that'll be something I'll definitely be considering. Okay, so another dono. I believe we got another 20. It hasn't popped up yet, but the number did go up. So I think we just got another 20, guys. Thank you very much. Red Line Politics. What's up, man? He's in the chat.
Oh, nice.
Red Line. What's up, man?
That's
Stop worrying about the midterms, buddy.
Different logo than I've seen him use.
Yeah. Red Line, you got to chill about the midterms, man. You're really got some PTSD, dude. Me and Rep need to give you a personal therapy session because you are traumatized, my friend. I'm telling you, it's not as bad as you think it is. If Trump goes down, it's not going to be some 2022 disaster. It'll be a close race.
He's not the real Red Lion.
Oh, it's not the real one.
He's the fake.
Why are you pretending to be somebody that you're not?
It's the internet, man. It's what they do. But
all right, another 10. I think we just got another 10 as well. We just got another one. So we just passed the 2,000 mark, guys. Thank you very much for that. Let's go ahead and continue. If you guys have friends that would be willing to donate to something like this, that would be greatly appreciated. Maryland said in Luzerne County, Pennsylvania, registration backlog. Okay, I've heard about this today.
There's like 1,000, from what I can tell. I just saw it, 1,000 voters that they're waiting to process. And Scott Pressler, I think, warned about this. So I think that, isn't it true when they process it, it's going to help us because a lot of those people are Republicans? I could be wrong, but
no, yeah, we'll see how that pans out. But guys, if you are in here, if you guys just joined, we are fundraising for SoCalStrategies, the pollster that we work with. We've raised already about 700 in this stream alone. So if you guys want to continue chipping in, that would be greatly appreciated. That would essentially be enough for like an entire state.
Another 5. I don't know. We just crossed 2,000. I don't know if you called out that one.
Yeah, I believe I did.
Alexander M.
Yes.
For
and
5.
Michael Giancarlo also went ahead and did it. I think we may see. Okay, no, that's it. So the latest update is $2,003 raised so far. We started at 1,300, guys. So if you guys want to, have people join, go ahead and do that. I would greatly appreciate it. And anybody on X, guys, make sure to reshare the stream on X as well. That would be greatly appreciated. I'm actually going to go ahead and post it again. Join our live stream and donate to SoCal. So also I'm gonna repost it as well on X again, so you guys can go ahead and join there as well and share that with everybody on X. And then on YouTube, guys, make sure to hit the like button. Whoever's in the YouTube chat right now, hit the like button. There's 169 likes, or 170 now. And there's about 360 of us in here.
Yeah, so share the stream, like the stream.
If you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and do that. We're about to get into this article. And then once we finish the article, we'll look at whatever super chats or whatever else also came in on the GoFundMe. So that's what we'll kind of go ahead and do. We did get another 5 on the GoFundMe, 2008 now. But we're going to go ahead and analyze the article. And then after we're done with that, we'll go ahead and look at chat and look at all the super chats. So essentially, this article essentially says America's second Catholic president was visiting his childhood neighborhood in April when he employed a bit of ritualized Irish Democrat politicking. I'm Joe Biden. He introduced himself to a patron at a small coffee shop gathering in Green Ridge, a long bastion of Irish Catholic families who work in law and politics. I went to St. Paul's.
Did he really, or is that just one of the things that he just pulls out of his rear end?
I don't know. But the greeting, an echo of the old Catholic habit of identifying oneself by church Paris, was Biden's homage to the I don't even know what that's.
Parochial is like a term of Catholic nature of Scranton, home to one of the nation's highest concentrations of white Catholics. And that's the demographic we've been talking about for a while. Bill Gometz sent a super chat for 10 saying to the poll. Well, you could donate direct. It'd be better. We appreciate all the donations, but if you guys want to send directly to the poll, the GoFundMe link is in the pin chat and the description.
Yeah,
but
the latest 5 was from Guy Browndoe, by the way. That's who sent the latest 5. But guys, yes, if you are planning on super chatting, just make an account, donate directly to the GoFundMe. I receive the funds a lot faster, and I can't wait next month to get them, because that'll be like after October 20th. I mean,
yeah, we just got a chat as well that said, and I want to address this because I think it's an important question that people ask, and it kind of demoralizes people. Rango Denalos is what's being done about election shenanigans, and he says nothing. The actual answer is a lot has been done. If you look at the RNC's legal cases they've brought in every swing state, from Michigan recently, signature verification, to the election integrity laws, to the severe dips in mail-in ballot request data, to just honestly the fact that look what they're trying to do to Trump outside of the election. We've seen him get virtually shot at once and then almost shot at a second time. I mean, I'm not super worried about that. I'm more worried about Trump's safety and the messaging down the stretch, which so far so good, and we got to do our part. But there's a lot that's been done. A lot has been done about that topic. I'll say that. But Biden's local and cultural roots helped lift him to victory 2020 in the most Catholic part of yeah, exactly. So they talk about Nepaw in the article, northeastern Pennsylvania. That's where Biden grew up. He pretends that he is the king of northeastern Pennsylvania. And the article says, but now as Democrats battle for the state with Kamala as the nominee, the chances of winning the region or performing well enough there to carry the state are looking considerably dicier. Not just the loss of Biden, but it talks about just the messaging in general. And it's true, because if Biden was still the nominee, he wouldn't get the 2020 numbers there. He's super unpopular now.
Yeah.
But the fact is that they go from that because people will say it's Trump or it's Trump going up against Biden and now Harris. Like, we got to throw all that away now and just look at 2020, because there's so many other factors at play there. Who knows how the election would go with Biden? Kamala, she's new on the scene, fresh on the scene. She had a honeymoon. It's gone. And the polls, she's cratering, and now she's in front of the media. But she doesn't relate to these people. Joe Biden did, because they were comfortable with him. You had a tumultuous time in the country with COVID. He came off as somebody that some of these people could get behind. A lot of the Trump voters still stuck with him, obviously, that Trump flipped. But I mean, Biden did have that unique appeal to that region. And you look at the shifts in the rural Northeast, Rhode Island, Connecticut, the Irish voters, the Polish voters. Kamala Harris is not a good fit for those people. And Trump did relatively well with those people. And then he just, on a dime, it's the other way around. And are they coming back to Trump? I presume a lot of them will. And that's why Trump is polling better in Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin than he ever was polling in history at this point in an election cycle. There's never been a point in history he polled better in either one of those 3 states.
Right. And we have 2 new donations. Kim Millard for 125 3 minutes ago. And Lashman De Silva for 25. Thank you for the 25 as well. We greatly appreciate that. That is the latest update for the GoFundMe. So we've already almost raised $1,000 on stream, guys. Go ahead and get us to 2,300 and more. If you guys have friends or anybody that would be interested in donating to transparent and honest polling data that you guys would be able to analyze, and we're going to be doing videos on these as they come out. I will be a little bit more organized about, creating content around them now. So please make sure to go ahead and donate to those. I will be linking it in my videos from now on. I am going to announce this on stream. Me and Rep did a collab, literally right before the stream, and I'll be plugging the GoFundMe in there as well. And I'll be posting that shortly after we finish here. So again, guys, make sure to go ahead and donate if you are in here. And guys, if you are in the YouTube chat and you have not hit the like button, go ahead and hit the like button, because it actually really helps out with the stream. The more likes it gets, the more engagement is there, and the more people actually see the stream. And forever's on X, guys, you can also donate. I see we actually have about almost 600 people on X.
Yeah, and also, guys, we're also trying to not just get the donation total up. We're trying to do that. But if you could chip in a little bit, $5 goes a long way. We'd like to get at least to the 50 donation mark on stream, if not try to get higher than that. And that definitely, some people want to donate $5 here, $5 there. We've delivered on every single donation promise that we've made in the last fundraiser. We put out polls in North Carolina, Pennsylvania. We've done Michigan, and there's been countless other polls that were conducted before that as well. Several national polls, a snap poll post-debate. It's been a while since we've been in the field, but it's about time that we go back in because this is the home stretch. It's the grading period for 538's scorecard and some other scorecards, and we want to make sure that we're able to get in there and get a good grade as well. So,
yeah,
absolutely.
100%. Another super chat, Alex Mercier for I believe it's 199 euros says thoughts on the Atlas Intel polls that just dropped. We will be covering those on stream. So don't worry, we are going to get to those. I know everybody, that's the talk on X right now. What are the Atlas Intel polls? We're going to be getting to those, guys. So don't worry, we will be getting to those fairly soon. Again, if you have not hit the like button on YouTube, go ahead and do so as well. That would be greatly appreciated if you can hit the like button.
Anonymous for 47. We love that number. That's the ideal number.
All right. Thank you very much, Anonymous.
If every viewer was able to chip in just 47, we'd complete the fundraiser, and it'd be a great number. Good omen for one side, for our side, not for the other side. But
no, guys, even if you can donate just 5 or 10, I mean that if right now we have 108, we have we're about to hit 1,000 viewers on both platforms. If we were to just estimate to 1,000 and everybody donated 5. We'd get an additional 5,000 in on top of what we have right now, and we'd essentially complete about half of what we have and almost the total amount of what we currently need. Either way, that would complete all the funding for the state polling. So again, guys, if you can just donate, just $5 even, that would, like what Red Eagle said, that would be greatly appreciated. But I think now we are going to get into the Atlas Intel, polling. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. I don't know.
Well, could we scroll through the article real quick?
End of the article. Let me go ahead and do that. I don't know what was going on with my. Okay, go ahead and we'll go ahead and look at the article really quick and then.
So they talk about the abortion issue and how that's her only thing, and it's not enough. Basically, It's not a state issue. They have their liberal governor, they have their Democrat state legislature, which might flip back, but still, you talk about other things like Harris on the whole Knights of Columbus issue. She's gone after these Catholic groups, and then she's anticipating that these white Catholic men. A chunk of them, a majority of those did back Trump in 2020, but a chunk went for Biden. They're not going to be as comfortable going for her. And we have another super chat that's a very large super chat, but again, we appreciate it. But if you wanted to send it directly to the polling fund, we do have the fundraiser. But thank you, Stefano. I appreciate it.
We do have 2 new donos there. Pedro Martins Albernaz for about 20. Thank you very much. And Jaser Filov for 28. Thank you as well. Two new super chats. We're about to hit the 1,000 mark on stream. So that is greatly appreciated. But guys, if you are going to donate, make sure to donate to the GoFundMe because I will be getting those immediately. I'll be getting those right away. Probably in a few days. The super chats won't come in until about next month, pretty much. So
well, also and that's another thing because when the time whether people are super chatting me during my streams to try to support the polling fund or super chatting you, we're not going to be able to we'll get paid late next month for that. And if you're donating out in October, you're not going to get that until after the election. So it's kind of a little counterproductive. Doesn't mean that we're not, if we're under the limit, we'll have to go into our own pockets and kind of get the difference for this. But I will say we're transparent about our process, what modes we're using. We're doing part online panel, which is one of the most accurate methods in 2020, and also text to online, which is also very accurate. I've actually gotten text to online polls this cycle. I never got them before, but I don't know what polling firm it was. but still, we're doing 6 state polls in October at least. I'd like to get a lot. I mean, if we could double that, or in some of those states, or maybe we get enough donations to do a Nevada poll, that would be great if we're able to do that. So I'd encourage you guys, if you'd like to help support, because we have a new methodology, we're reaching newer voters, we're getting a more accurate sample of seniors due to the text to online targeting that we're doing via Lucid Theorem for the national poll and then CINT for the state polls. It's comprehensive. Right. It's and again, we're probably going to be more accurate than these mainstream media organizations that spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on polls to get wonky, wrong results, because either they're dumb or they're trying to control the narrative, and then they simultaneously call out polls like ours, and they happen to think that no, Harris is the favorite when she's not the favorite. And Pennsylvania, people need to use common knowledge here. And you could go demographic by demographic. Is Kamala Harris going to do better among white working class voters? No, not compared to Biden. She may even do worse than Hillary Clinton, but even if she does a little bit better, it is what it is. Now, there's also white college voters. She might do a little better there, but they're not, she's not going to gain a ridiculous amount. I think she'll do worse with white college men, better with white college women, but not by a whole lot. Maybe she might even stagnate. Who knows? Turnout will probably be down from the COVID level turnout. And you had a lot of people getting caught up in the COVID, BLM, hysteria, that a lot of it's died down. A lot of people, they do move right. People can become red-pilled. Stuff like that's not talked about, but it's true. Then you have Hispanic voters. She's not doing nearly as good as 2020 Biden. They call her K-Mala for a reason. And you know a lot about that firsthand, more so than I do, about people switching. I mean, we talked about that, I think it was last night on a Twitter space of the night before.
And funny. Then it was, it's great. It's like Kamala Harris, it's so funny. Yeah. It's like hilarious. It's like almost.
It's her name means why bad or what bad.
Like how bad? You're so bad. Basically, that's what that means. It's pretty poetic. It's just so. A lot of people that I know that are more Spanish speaking Hispanics. I am Hispanic myself, but more that are actual mostly Spanish speaking. A lot of them are oh, it's Kamala Harris. A lot of people are saying that, so it's sticking. That name is really sticking to her. So I'm very interested, and I'm curious to see that Hispanic town hall that's coming about on the 8th of October in Miami, Florida, which I'm gonna announce this on stream, guys. I am trying to get a press pass for that, so we'll see if that works out. I don't know. It's something that I have to apply for, so we'll see if that happens, but we'll see if I get the press pass for it. It'll be cool, especially since I'm local, and I did get contact back, so I'll announce that at some point if I do get the press pass for that.
We have a new update, breaking news. One of the most popular Muslim imams in the United States has endorsed Donald Trump after meeting with the senior advisor this morning. He has a lot of pull in Michigan. That's big. And, we talk about the Muslim vote. Yeah, I've said it myself that it is to an extent, it's something that's overrated. But when you have a percentage of an electorate in a state that's 1% doing a complete and total 180, or at least Harris getting, 60,000 net votes, and they all either flip to Trump or abandon her, that's a net gain of, half of Donald Trump's margin in the state. And we'll see what happens there. But that's that is a big endorsement for Trump to get. Very underrated endorsement as well. I mean, you hear about these Dick Cheneys. Dick Cheney's not winning any voters over. A lot of those people, Republicans, they voted for Biden. But these other people, like RFK Jr., he's got a big following about this health crisis stuff for valid reason. I agree with him 100%. And his endorsement of Trump makes me a lot more ecstatic to support Trump's administration, because certain policies that I've thought of, and same thing with Vance, a lot of the things Vance stands for, definitely it plays well to me, given certain stances I have that aren't really all that talked about politically, but they definitely are issues that are facing this country. We're in crisis. So absolutely.
100%. And looking at this, more donations, 5 anonymous, Joe Daniel for 20, Calvin Williams for 25, and anonymous for 10. So we did in fact pass the bar. Oh, $200 donation from Stefano. So we are at 20
Yo, thank you,
now.
Stefano. Big
Thank you.
appreciation.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. We greatly, greatly appreciate that. So we have raised about, give or take, 1,200 so far. That's basically that's about a whole poll, I think. Maybe a little bit more. That it's like a poll and then some. So guys, keep going ahead. If we keep fundraising more and more, I may push the stream time to end a little bit later. As of right now, we'll tentatively end it at about 11 or so. But if things keep going well, maybe I'll push it till later. We'll see what happens. So if you guys want the stream to continue, go ahead and donate if that's what you want, and these polls too. And we are at the 50 donation mark, and we raised about 2,500. So that's great news. And we just started fundraising for that like the other day.
Yeah,
So
we hit 50. Can we get to 100 donos? That would be crucial. Even if it's $5, every bit helps. That's 2 people we can reach in a poll, 3 people, just based off of that level of support. So again, I know not everybody can. There's a lot less disposable income in this economy. I get it. Even people that make a decent amount, they're not putting as much away as they were in the past, even if they're able to get by. But we have a fellow Armenian in chat as well. Shout out to Pogos. And that's not really a demographic that's really consequential in the election, but there is a big Middle Eastern Christian population as well, where I grew up in suburban Detroit and Michigan, and they definitely are moving to the right as well, and they're also very much in favor of peace in the Middle East. A lot of them came over in the 2000s and even before that, and they add up too, because people say the Arab American vote. Most Arab Americans are Christian. Armenians are not Arabs, but there is a cultural vague gradient from places like Lebanon all the way to Greece for sure, and then Russia, and a lot of these Eastern Europeans, Middle Easterns, those types of groups. They've been historically more Democratic, but they're becoming more and more Republican. You look at Glendale, California, they call it the other Armenia, very much so moved to the right in 2020 if you look at that precinct map. So we'll have to see. But there's a lot of Armenians that are Democrat, but they've left the Democrat Party, for various reasons.
Yep, 100%. And do you want to go ahead and look at the Atlas Intel polls, because I know a lot of people are asking for that.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and look at those, because there are some pretty weird findings in some of them. Like I'll give it to them. I mean, their state polling wasn't really that accurate in 2020 to be regardless. I mean, some of them were, some of them weren't, but that's the good thing about them, is that they've missed in both directions, which pollsters should be missing in both directions if they are an unbiased pollster. I mean, that's just the truth. But when you look at this, they basically found Trump up in all the swing states except Nevada and North Carolina. And we'll be kind of diving into the crosstabs, because it's going to be pretty interesting what you'll find. And they had a Trump plus 3.6 national environment poll, which does not line up with this map here at all. This would probably be like a Harris plus 2 national environment, probably. And that's if she did really good with African-American turnout in like North Carolina or Georgia or something like that. Like, this resembles more Harris plus 2. But Atlas Intel has been accurate internationally and has been accurate here in the Democrat primaries and in the 2020 election. And even in, I believe, the Iowa primary, they were pretty good too. So they've been pretty accurate overall. And now they have this for the state polls. And again, state polls tend to be very odd, guys. That's just normal. So we're going to be giving some context to these. We got a $5 dono. It hasn't come in yet, the actual name, but we did get a $5 donation. So to whoever that was, thank you very much for that. We do greatly appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and look at these crosstabs, because these are interesting. And Nate Silver says, oh, if you're a crosstab diver, you're just a nerd or whatever, which it's kind of rich.
Well, that's very hypocritical coming from him.
It's very rich coming from him. I mean, me and him look the exact opposite. I look the opposite of a nerd compared to him.
Well,
But
the thing is that yeah,
like,
he embodies that. But the thing is, if you're gonna be a nerd, you might as well be good at what you do. And if you
yeah,
bet, if you bet against everything he says, you're gonna be a millionaire. I mean, how do you underestimate Donald Trump's margin in every single state in the 2020 election and have a job the next day? You should not. And that's not to say people can't have a bad cycle. We've had, at least I've had bad cycles. The difference is that there's a lot of people that will stop paying attention based off of that, and then it's my duty to explain why I was wrong. He doesn't do that. He doesn't learn.
He just goes on about his day, and he goes down to the next place that will hire him. And now he's got his little bulletin board, which he can't even be hired by anybody because he's been that bad. Like, imagine. He's been that
he
bad.
quit his own company. Is they either gave up on him or he quit.
He's been that bad that they had to get rid of him. That he was so bad.
Also, Brian, thank you for the 5. Brian donated 5.
Okay, and I believe we did get a little bit. Oh, okay, so we got a 3 from Phil and 50 anonymous. So we're about to hit the 2,600 mark, guys. We're about to hit that. But no, I mean, no, yeah, it's just it's kind of ridiculous when you have some guy that's supposed to be this like oracle of polling and stuff like that, and he says, "Oh, you shouldn't look at crosstabs because that's such a dirty thing to do." Johnny Heartdog, oh, I think this is somebody that actually.
Yeah, he's a super chatter for my channel.
Yeah. I recognize the name. There's so much science that goes into these polls. I don't know how you keep up. I mean, it's just something that you get. Like, if you look at hundreds of these, I mean, it's just natural. Like, there's just certain things that you look at them and you know that it's not true. Like, Harris in the Georgia poll is getting 100% of Democrats. Like, guys, look at it. Like, really, is Harris going to get 100% of Democrats in Georgia? No. That's like, no one's ever going to get 100% of their party affiliation.
Well, yeah, like, it shows that they're missing.
That's impossible. That's like literally impossible. That will never happen, ever. Like, for nobody. Even DeSantis, who Rufus says is the most electable person, he will never get 100% of the Republican electorate in any state at all. It just will never happen.
In fact, he'd do worse than Donald Trump, and he'd have less crossover appeal, and he'd do worse with independents for various reasons. Johnny. Also, Johnny, if you'd like to donate directly to the polling fund as well, it definitely helps us out a lot to, in terms of what we're trying to do, raise money for the polls directly. And thank you. Oscar sent 25.
Oscar,
thank you, Oscar. But we're trying to get it. We're trying to get up there as much as we can, just so we can conduct more polls, and that's more videos, by the way, for the channel, because every poll we drop, it's going to be a video. I'm sure you'll analyze it on your channel. I'll do it on mine. Some other channels will. We'll see if Donald Trump will repost one of our polls yet again. We can get another frame of the Trump truth. Or maybe he'll tweet it. Maybe he'll tweet it this time too. Now that he uses Twitter.
That would be incredible if he went ahead and did that. But now I think Oscar, so we covered that donation. So these are the Arizona crosstabs, guys, and the party sample is decent. The gender gap is decent. Like, the thing is, they're pretty good at actually weighing their polls. Like, Alice Intel actually does a pretty good job.
Wait a second here, because I did notice something, and maybe this is me being off base, but
let's see.
It's strange that they have the Sunbelt states to the left of the nation, and one thing we see here is just the education, and I always say the E word. That's the key, because it showcases class and culture, and
really high.
He has 51% with a college degree. That is not, and that's where they weighted to. 36% of the electorate in 2020 had a college degree. So you are overrepresenting white college educated voters in that sample. That's malpractice. You can't do it. And now, may I ask you to pull up the poll methodology for Michigan by comparison, because that's the thing. And pollsters in 2022 they were wrong because they weighted by education wrongly, but they just overcorrected. Now,
this was the Arizona split. So what's interesting is when you look at this, like we see Hispanics here, and this is going based off the New York Times exit polls, which are probably not that accurate, but I still use them regardless sometimes. He's underperforming with Hispanics in this poll compared to the exit polls from 2020, which if he's gaining a bunch of points with Hispanics at the national level, he's not going to lose Hispanics in Arizona. Like, it's just not going to happen. Even in the primary, Trump had a really good performance there because of that. And Trump's winning the black vote in this poll by 20 points. Like, come on. And it's like probably a big, probably a small sample, but it is kind of strange to see that in some of the swing states. And Kamala Harris is winning independents in this poll by 20. It's probably that educated vote that you were talking about. That is, I didn't notice that, but yeah, that is a very big oversampling of college educated voters.
Yeah, because it's what, 30? Did I say 36%?
Yeah, that's huge. That's a huge oversampling. Yeah, so if anything, these polls are actually good for Trump. That means that this is 100% going to understate him.
Because Michigan was better, but it was 40% college degree.
So funny enough,
like, it was 35.
The better they weigh the educated vote to like closer to 2020 or like closer to whatever reality would be, the better his lead gets. So if anything, he's actually going to do better.
And there's still good polls for Trump. Like, that's the thing. I'm not trying to pick them apart to say, I'm trying to get them to fit my narrative, because I believe that the results in Arizona at the top line, they're fair. And the Senate splits are also fairer, which is why, Lake is not running behind Donald Trump by 20 points like Fox News.
It's ridiculous. But imagine, look, but they oversampled college-educated voters in this poll, and she's only down by 4. Like, that's
53% of the sample in North Carolina's college degree.
That's horrendous. That's so bad. That is like unfathomably bad. What was it in 2020? Wasn't it like the same thing as Arizona almost? Like,
it was I think it was, I could see here, 38%. So that's actually more than usual. But I mean, that is not where they need it to be.
Yeah, those are a big guy, and we're not even trying to be biased. Like, we're really not. Those are just really bad weights. Like, the electorate's not going to swing 20 points college educated in a single year. It's just not going to happen. And again, guys, state polling is a little bit more difficult. Sometimes pollsters can't weigh, polls in a certain way, because if they were to have actually reweighed that to like proper party ID or like proper education ID, Trump would probably be up by 7-8 points in the poll, to be honest, which is around where I have it actually. But they probably wouldn't want to post a Trump +7, Trump +8 poll, because they probably don't feel like they want to post something like that to kind of like really go out there with their reputation, which is understandable if you're a pollster. Like, you kind of have to match the aggregate, not match it, but at least be within range of the aggregate. So sometimes I understand that, but yeah, those are huge.
Even Wisconsin, 47% college degree in Wisconsin. You can't do that. Like, I understand that.
Those are bad. And he's up by 2. He's up by 2 points. And those are horrible. Those are bad polls. If anything, that actually makes me feel really good about Trump's chances in all the swing states. Because if they're weighing for like majority college educated in the samples and he's still up, that's like really bad news for Kamala. That's like horrendous.
Yeah, 53% in Pennsylvania. See, that's the thing, and I don't know. Are they including like associate's degrees?
He's up by like 2 or 3. He's up. That's crazy. And look at Georgia. They have 51% of the electorate in Georgia's college educated. Now, there's a little bit more in Georgia, but it's not 51. It's way lower than that. So yes, the party samples are decent, but that education weighing is really bad. And it may be because of 2022. They may be kind of like trying to play around with that, maybe, which is just strange. And he's still leading in some of the polls, even when you have like a majority college educated sample, which you shouldn't really have that in almost any state, actually. I don't think people realize this, but there's a lot of people in the United States who have not gone to college. Like,
most haven't.
No, most haven't. And there's a lot of people that, especially people who go to college, that think that that's the only thing people do after high school. Like, that's just not true. Like, that's far from reality. There are way more people who actually, go ahead and
Or they have like an
going their own
associate's
path.
degree, training, and the
Yeah,
way they're asking the questions may play a role in that. And maybe they're not like, it's not like you can't just move it, 15 points to the right based off of that. But
right,
it is true that they're not doing it correctly, because that's not the numbers, regardless of what they're doing. They might say, "Do you have a college degree?" Somebody with an associate's degree might say yes, but they're supposed to break it down further, usually when they do that, and that they're not doing it properly. Now they have been accurate in the past, but that's kind of when you're gauging something like that, it's not where you want to be in these key swing states. And obviously in Michigan, a little bit different than Arizona, North Carolina, but in reality, there's not that much of a discrepancy. There's not a majority of North Carolinians that vote that have a college degree, and they may be higher, a proportion of the percent there, than they are in a place like Michigan, and that's fair and that's fine. But it's not and part of that's the research triangle, but
right.
it's not enough to explain that. You're not going to get that. And that would make sense if they're overestimating Democrats in places where they're overestimating voters regardless of party. Because then that's another thing I want to mention about the party ID. You say 100% of Democrats in these polls. Okay, well, let's talk about that. 100% of Democrats, there are a lot of Democrats who vote for Trump that still identify as Democrat. Might be like 3%, but they tend to be working class, your minorities, your ancestral Democrat voters, your mountain men in North Carolina. And I think a lot of them are going to become Republican, but it's like, no, this is an error. This is malpractice. You can't do that regardless. It's not how you conduct a poll. And I like Atlas Intel, and maybe their results are going to be accurate or underestimate Trump, but like, that's not like, when you have inconsistency like that, that's something you can point to and be like, okay, this is not something that you look at and say is fair. Because the age looks fair, the income distribution, but again, the income distribution, I'm looking at, what is this, Georgia? I'm gonna look at the vote for Georgia, because there's
Laird for 20. So we got another donation to GoFundMe. Guys, they have kind of slowed down. For who those are new here, we are fundraising for SoCalStrategies. So we're at about 1,400 people viewing this combined on YouTube and on X. There's a lot more people viewing.
Okay, this is a ridiculous thing I found.
Well,
when they look at household income.
Let me read this super chat really quick. What would you say is the likely college educated versus likely non-college educated? Rep, if you want to answer that.
What I assume it means, what would you say is the likely percent?
Yes.
Well, it's usually like, and I think that because we are, demography is changing, we're going to have more people that might be college, but it's not going to be a ridiculous shift.
No.
Usually nationally, in the midterms, it was much higher. And that we know, and that's why that's why we got it wrong, and we admit it, and they don't understand it. The election mafia scumbags, they never get anything correctly by their virtue of their own intelligence. But when you look at the college-educated makeup of the 42% in the midterms, it was, I believe, 40% college, even if it's like 41% in 2024. That's not what some of these polls are showing, and they're missing these lower propensity voters, which we have raw data out of Virginia, and they are coming out, and the modeled party for them, it's not perfect, but they're significantly more and more Republican. Actually, it was 39%. So I think 60-40 should be the split, which is a 4-point more working class electorate, and mainly white working class, because Democrats do a better job at getting out there, black voters in the inner cities, for example, that are, working class, and they're not going to hit the same margins of 90 whatever percent that they hit last time, most likely. But no, and look at Nevada, because Nevada's another blue state. Let's look at that. Third, okay, that's actually, surprisingly, when you look at the college degree or higher, that's 30.
Yeah, but look at their party sample. It's D+7.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the best way. You have to push the leaners for sure. I don't know how they're doing it. I know they try to weigh for everything that they can, but I want to see Nevada. Nevada's after. Okay, so just look. But the thing I found out, Georgia, they have like 37% of the voters in Georgia, they make $100,000 or more, and those are moving left. And there's an oversample of the upper white class in those polls. And that's not how you can, that's not the right way to conduct these polls when it's only 23%. I know inflation has increased incomes by a tiny bit, not as much as the wages should be rising for it, but that's not enough to explain any discrepancy that we're seeing. You're not going to get an electorate like that in Georgia. And even then, they still have Donald Trump leading. But Nevada, because that's one of the states they don't have Trump leading. And you look at the college degree, so they have it at what, 31? So it was actually in 2020, it was 30. So that's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah. But you're right. The party sample and the other thing is the income sample, because they have it at what, 100 and you said over, or 31.4%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 26% in 2020. So you're probably not going to see that.
Right.
You're oversampling well-to-do voters who are probably not going to be voting on the economy as much, or voting on immigration as much, and that's why the realignment is at play here. I mean, Harris is not going to really run it up with those voters much more than Biden, but the working class voters, they're not worried about abortion. By and large, they're worried about the immigration that's plaguing their communities, many communities of recent, second and third generation immigrants. And it's also the economy, inflation, jobs. When all the jobs go to the illegal aliens, which is what they're doing, if you look at the data, that's not really a good point.
Yep. And look at this, Matthew Davis for 20, as always. Nice job, gentlemen. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. But again, guys, donate to the GoFundMe. It is in the pinned chat, it is the pinned comment in the chat. So go ahead and donate to that. Things have kind of slipped out a bit.
We started off, if we could at least get in the 3,000 range by the end of the stream, it'll be a win. We should do this probably once a week before the election. On Saturdays. I'm more than down for that.
Okay.
So and honestly, I might do one on my channel as well to make sure we can boost.
You think numbers. I could join you on that one?
It's possible. I don't usually do StreamYard, but we could maybe do like a call-in show. I'll give you a good block of it. Okay. So we'll see. And maybe get SoCal in the mix if he's available to talk about it as well. But, these polls, they look good for Trump, but there are flaws that are present in them. And they're flaws that usually are not overestimating Republicans.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the flaws in the polls actually would hurt Democrats if they were corrected. So, funny enough, these actually make me feel really good about his chances in some of these states. Like, look at this. North Carolina, college educated is like it's college educated like +7. Like, there's no way. And suburban's like 50%. I don't know if that's an accurate sample. They have blacks at like 17%, Hispanic at 6%, and that seems about right. 73% white, female/male. I actually think they're understating females here, but you have about 40% is below 50K household income. I guess that would make sense. But in the Republican sample is actually, I think, is higher than 2020. But those independents, they're very left-leaning because that college-educated sample is way too high. And you even see it here in the crosstabs. Like, look at this. Like, so Kamala Harris is supposedly getting more Republicans in North Carolina than Trump is getting Democrats, and she's winning independents by about 21.
It's usually the opposite there. This is a state where there's more ancestral Democrats, and a lot of them are identifying now as Republican, but the independents lean right. And whether people want to debate if it's a stagnant, moving right, moving left state, I happen to believe it's relatively stagnant.
Yeah, it is.
It's not, and that's not something that's going to bode too well for the Democrats. They don't understand what's at play. They don't understand the realignment. Yeah. And
I would say that North Carolina is actually going to be one of the more important states to look at on election night. And it's good because we'll get results from there fairly quickly. Because it's one of the first states that starts counting, and it'll be good to get numbers from there because it has been a stagnant state, and it may possibly be a stagnant state again. It may even trend Republican by like a point or two, maybe, depending on how good Trump does with certain demographics. But depending on the margin, North Carolina, however much it shifts from 2020, may very well be the popular vote shift across
We
the
got
nation.
25. Thank you, Anonymous.
Oh, thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
that.
Lynn, for the 50. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much, guys. We are at the 2,750 mark. So thank you to whoever donated that. I really, really appreciate that. And so does Rep as well, because if we didn't have these fundraisers, we'd kind of have to pull out of our own pockets. And that is not the most, I mean, at least for me, it's not necessarily super convenient. And it's nice to kind of have these type of fundraisers because it shows that people have genuine interest for this kind of stuff. And then you see that we create videos for them. So it's just a community type thing, and then it also kind of helps us with not necessarily having to take it out of exactly, not having to take it out of our own pockets, to provide people with honest, transparent polling information. So,
and more updates. North Carolina mail got redder today.
Yeah, I got again.
It's 12%. That the gap is just 12%. And when requests go up there, when they go up in PA, it benefits Republicans, which is not the case in the past.
That is not good for them. I'm saying
huge.
It's not good for them at all. Looking at these, we'll go down to another state here. So, by the way, Joe Biden's approval ratings are very low in all the states, by the way, guys. Like, they're below 45 in all of them. Like, and most of them even below 40. So again, it's not looking great. And again, look, the top issues in all the states are inflation, U.S. economy, job market.
It's going down too. I didn't like on RCP. By the way, it was about to go down to like the -11 range, and now it's up to -14. I wonder if he got a bump for putting on the MAGA hat. I really wonder if that's the case. But
wait, really?
Well, I don't know if that's what did it, but it could have been and that's another thing, response bias. After the debate, when some of the polls showed Kamala doing good, they also show Biden's job approval going up. And that kind of proves my point about this. Biden's approval being at 41, that is crucial because people will be like, well, Harris's favorables are rising. And even let's just say that's true. John McCain had extraordinarily high favorables in 2008.
Like
he lost because the issues people care about, and he did the same thing. He actually could do it more effectively than Harris, trying to distance himself from the Bush administration, but it didn't work. It didn't work, and Harris, the flip-flopping, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anybody be shameless, and nobody buys it. Nobody.
And you know what's funny, too? It's actually funny, but one of the reasons why you may have her not win this election is that, and it's funny because all the candidates who've done this flip-flopping thing before, they've lost. Pretty much all of them have lost.
Has any of them won? Has any single one of them won?
No, not really. I mean, Biden, you could argue maybe
that's the closest thing. But the problem with Biden is that, it is true. Biden's in the primary. He didn't say any of the crazy stuff.
Nope.
He kind of took I'm like the diet version of this. Like, he was perceived as the moderate, so it mattered less. Whereas Kamala Harris, she is effectively being defined.
And it's funny too, because what's happening is, since she's trying to pander to independents and conservatives by doing these photo ops at the border and whatnot, it's interesting because she might actually be losing support from her own base to an extent, because it's like, imagine you're like this far
left. All NPCs, but I know what you mean. Like the far left, they're the Palestine people, and they don't like her.
But it's like they see her like, oh yeah, I'm going to the border, and this is like, well, we don't care about the border. Why are you going to the border? And then what happens is, I actually think she would do better if she even ran a legit far left campaign. Like if she said, oh yeah, we're gonna let in all the illegals, she probably would actually do better. And that may sound stupid, but what's happened is, since she's been really unclear about her stances, there's a lot of people that are very iffy about her, like, oh, well, what's going to happen? And since she won't give it a direct answer, they're forced to vote for Donald Trump. And if they heard her real answers, chances are they probably still vote for Donald Trump, period.
Yeah, we got a super chat from Motorsports Vault saying love both of y'all. Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And if you guys want to just, if you even $5, we've got 60 total donations. If we could get that up close to 100 donations on the GoFundMe for the poll,
10.
That would be huge.
On Avery.
Yeah. And because think of it, 2,700, that is we were very transparent about what we're doing here and how much it costs. we've already raised enough for our national poll. And hopefully we can raise, I mean, I think we've raised about a state poll or two as well tonight. So we need to keep making sure we're able to have people donate. And I get some people can't. Some people, maybe they get paid next Friday. We're going to be doing the stream Saturday. We're going to, make sure we're able to get as many people, as many hands on deck, because we need good polling, and we also need we need people volunteering as well for this election. I've got a video. Hopefully tomorrow it'll be. I'll finally be able to get it done. The video about ballot chasing and putting my audience to work as well, because it's important. I know a lot of your audience is my audience, and vice versa. So let's see here. We've got several more. Jared the American said, on point rep, if Harris ran as a far left candidate, I'd at least respect her. Well, at least you'd understand where she stands. And there is something to that. Tudor Dixon did try to, pivot on abortion. It failed miserably. If it happens to Republicans, it happens to Democrats. And, they try, it doesn't work in most cases. So, yeah, I mean, if Harris came out and was running like, oh, I'm like a, Bernie type, again, there is that poison to the suburbs, though. But still, you'd still have enough, I feel like, that would make it competitive. She'd lose decisively, but she's already on track to lose decisively. They can stick their heads in the sand all they want and say bias, 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 like some people might be doing in the live chat. And I say leave them in there. I think it's entertaining. I don't think you have to ban everybody. But, it's like, it's just not true. I'd like to hear, honestly, what some of the more left-leaning people in the chat have to say, because we get a couple people talking about J.D. Vance and Walz relating to normies better. Well, here's the problem. The average normie doesn't know who the VP pick is. They're going to be acquainted to Vance and Walz on that debate stage. And that's crucial for Vance, and it's crucial for Walz. And when you have somebody like J.D. Vance, who is like this become this bulldog against the media, and he's really come into his own, the original whole like weird label, it's not exactly going to stick as well unless he like has an underwhelming performance. So that's what people need to understand. The VP pick, Vance is a lot of very, very sharp tendencies regarding the media. In fact, the left is going to be forced to acknowledge that pretty soon. And that's why they've stopped, doing down this weird pathway, because the more they talk about him, they'd have to show him more. And the more they show him, he's getting better. And it's like, whoa, you can't do that. Like the last thing they got mad at him about was, he ordered donuts at a shop awkwardly. And it's like, is this really the biggest deal? Like, obviously, if Vance was at the top of the ticket, you could talk about the personality. But I think he's coming into his own. I think he is coming into his own. And I will say that just objectively, because I was somebody, if you go back, I was like, yeah, Vance, I don't really think that he adds much. Now I'm like all in on him. And there's certain people in Trump's orbit that, I'm not exactly the biggest fans of, but I feel like they're less and less, they're further and fewer between. And it's not just about the electoral side of things, it's about what he's able to get done. And the people that kind of, watered down the first administration, they're out of the way.
Yep.
They're out of the way.
Yep. 100%. Let's look at this fundraiser really quick, see if we got any more updates. We are still at 2,758, guys. So we did raise about 1,500 today, which is great. Basically,
Sharon for 10. I don't know if you read that one, but
yeah, I did. I did read that one earlier. But I think we did raise about a national poll, so that's pretty good. And then I think we did raise about a state poll too so far. So that is great. So essentially the national poll, and I believe the first state we're polling is North Carolina. I think we're going to be going to the field there first. So those two are basically completely done, fundraised pretty much almost. Once we hit 3,000, they'll pretty much be done.
But hopefully, I don't know how long you want to continue. I'm fine doing another 20 plus minutes. It's up to you, though. I mean, it's your stream.
I was honestly going to end it. I might probably end it at 11. So we'll go for a couple more minutes.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. But hopefully we can get at least to another 5 more donos on the poll. So we'll be able to.
Guys, we are about to end it. Thank you for everyone who joined, but we are going to be on for a couple more minutes. We're going to look at these crosstabs a little bit more, and then we are going to go. because I have to upload my video with Rep, and then Rep's got to upload his. So we do got to get going soon. But no, but yeah, guys. So it is looking the fact that the college educated sample's that high and they're still tied or competitive is really good for Trump. And if these would have been the 2020 polls with Biden, Biden would be leading these by like double digits in like all the states. So I'm just saying it's looking good. And like Pennsylvania, this one, they have college educated 53%. Like that's really high. And their Democrat sample, I get like this is a bad sample. Like it's to the point where it's not even reasonable. This is like D+8. Like that's like D+9. That's like really bad. That's
yeah,
like,
and you could way past that depending on how it goes. But yeah, I mean it is strange.
That is really
but
bad.
I think that like the college degree thing. But how do you get a Trump lead in that poll? That is like that's the thing, because I think the result is too bullish, and then I'm looking at the methodology. I'm just like, what's going on here?
Well, I think that my margins, like Trump plus, I think I'm onto something when it comes to Trump winning big, because if he's doing that well in a majority college educated environment, and in this poll he's getting 46% of black voters in Pennsylvania, he's getting 42% of Asians, but then he's only winning whites by like 4, and he's getting 40% of Hispanics, and he's winning like 9% of Democrats, and he's winning independents by like 40. So it's like a really weird thing, and crosstabs tend to kind of cancel each other out. But
okay, yeah. Another thing I wanted to say, kind of a little off topic, because people are talking about Vance and Walz. Vance's a favorable rating is 36. Walz's is 40. And here's the deal. Walz's unfavorable rating is 39. Vance's unfavorable rating is 46. So what this shows is that Democrats are the ones that have made their opinions known about these candidates. It's not about the appeal to independence, as certain people in chat are saying. And by the way, like, you know, in terms of Tim Walz, people don't know much about the guy. They also don't know much about Vance. And you have kind of blank slates in both. And I think they're not like hurting the ticket. They're also not helping the ticket. But, you know, This VP debate I think is crucial, but it might be more of a spectacle, more of a look at, can Vance take on the big dogs in 2028 if he decides to run, which I think he will if Trump wins. But and in terms of the other chat about not many people watching the VP debate, I think more people watched the VP debate in 2020, I could be wrong about that, than the actual, or there's been several VP debates historically that have been more viewed than the presidential debates in terms of the ratings. So a lot of people will be tuning in. By how much, I don't know. But the VP debate had 73, or the first debate had 73 million viewers. The second debate had, or the VP debate had like 60. So it's not like it's a big dip. And there's going to be a lot of Vance highlights because he's preparing. He's very intelligent. Whether people like him or not, you can't disagree. So, you know, you can sit here and talk about, oh, well, he said this thing about cat ladies. It's over. It's like, okay, he insulted Democrat voters. That's why they hate him, because that's the Democrat constituency. You know, if a Democrat was on tape calling, saying, oh, all these people, they're like bigoted rednecks or whatever, they'd be talking more about like a caricature of the Republican base. Republicans would be the people that would be driving up their unfavorables. So that's kind of what it does. So no, there were not 400,000 new registered voters because of Taylor Swift. That's been debunked. It was actually, they saw an increase of 1,300, and we don't even know how they registered. That's link clicks on a website. That doesn't mean much of anything, but I'm sure they will bring it up at the debate, and Vance is going to have to find his way around it. So it just depends. And as for 2028, I don't want to talk about it because we have a long way to go. I care about this election, and I want to correctly poll this election as much as possible, which is why you guys need to donate to the GoFundMe, just $5. If everybody donated $5 right as the stream is ending, that would really, move the needle. It helps out a lot, and we'll be fundraising more and more as the weeks go on for sure. But I really appreciate those who donated, and we will continue to be pushing this for the polling project, because we've got but 6 polls that are 6 state polls and 1 or 2 national polls we want to do. We might do more than that. It depends. But again, you guys want to help us, our polls get off the ground more, have more of them, compete with these other firms that churn out a poll every week. Well, I mean, they're not free, sadly, and we will appreciate any support we can get, even if it is just $5. But the big donations, thank you, especially to Anonymous for 500. He was the big one, but also the donos over 100. I think we should probably read those. We had Lynn for 100. An Anonymous for 125, Kim for 125, Stefano for 200, and then the Anonymous for 500. Appreciate all those donations to the polling project for SoCalStrategies, and we will be making sure that we have the most accurate polls that we can, and we'll try to be as transparent as possible as well. We're not trying to hide anything from the public. They try to critique our polls based off of our partisan lean, but the problem is that, it's a very lazy way of looking at it. There's polls from Democrat firms that I actually have respect for and are relatively honest, and there's a lot of right-leaning pollsters that get it wrong, like Echelon Insights, and they're all over the place. So,
Yeah. But all right, guys, we are ending off the stream at 2,758 raised, so about 1,300 raised. So that's an entire national poll, guys. So we basically raised the national poll today, which is awesome. So thank you to everybody who tuned in. Try to hit the like button before you leave. And guys, make sure to go ahead, and we'll be announcing a lot more of these. We'll try to get some guests on some of these. Maybe it's possible. We'll see what we can do. But Rep, definitely let me know whenever you do the stream on your end, because that will be a good one for me to also be on as well. But all right, guys, that is pretty much it for Rowers on X. Again, go ahead and donate. I am going to put the link before we do end it. So guys, go ahead. Whoever's on X, there's about 1,100 of you guys there. If you guys can just all donate about $5, that would be greatly appreciated.
We got a $50 super sticker.
Yep.
And again, I will tell you guys, just for future reference, donating super chats, they're appreciated. They help the channels run, but we're not going to be able to. It takes like a month for us to get that money. The election's going to be over. It's not directly going to go to the polling, and YouTube does take a cut. So just a heads up for people that try to donate. We appreciate either way, but the fundraiser is far more preferable.
Yeah, 100%. But guys, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you are new, would be greatly appreciated. And we will see you guys in the next live stream, probably sometime next week. So see you guys very soon.
Yep.